If you guys want to get anything from the Chelsea Megastore, make sure you use the QR code on the screen or the link in the description, and the discount code from me is GBFC10. It gets you 10% off all the kits, 10% off all the retro stuff, all the training stuff, 10% off everything. Let's get into the video. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Chelsea news today. We have got a ton of stuff to go through. I do apologise if I sound really nasally. Got a horrible cold at the moment, but we're getting closer to Chelsea's return. We go to Brentford on Saturday evening. I'm looking forward to it. The international break in September always feels like the longest, most difficult one to get through, because you just get the season back and then it's like, no, we're going to take a little break for 2 weeks now. And especially when you got to suffer through England, Andorra and that performance, it doesn't make it any easier. But without any further ado, let's begin with some really good news to start today's video. Big boost for Chelsea yesterday with Romeo Lavia and Badiashile both back in full training on the grass. This is big news for Chelsea because what it means is we can see Romeo Lavia potentially back in a Chelsea starting 11. Chelsea, when we play with Lavia, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, we just look like such a better team. And I think what I've got here is a 4-3-3. I'd love to see what you guys think in the comments down below. Maybe with this, you can actually probably get Reece James in there at right back a little bit more, because Lavia does that defensive work brilliantly. Caicedo and Lavia step in there, and it can move into kind of like a 4-2-3-1, as we would usually see. I think Chelsea are just so much more secure when Lavia's back in the team. And as well as that, not to not discuss Badiashile, but the fact that he's back fit as well, Chelsea gave him the vote of confidence in the summer. So with that being said, hopefully now he can also get minutes, because the games are going to come now thick and fast. We've got Brentford at the weekend. Then we go to Bayern Munich and then Manchester United. I cannot wait. Football is back. Let's move into the next story. This is from Simon Phillips again. According to Foot Mercato, Axel Disasi was excited to rejoin Monaco this summer, but Chelsea had reached their loan quota and the operation could not succeed. With Axel Disasi, I actually think there's a world here where he could end up being back in the fold, and that is purely a pessimistic outlook. I'm not saying that we're going to get loads of injuries, but if we do, Axel Disasi training by himself, Chelsea might need to call him up eventually. And obviously we've seen Mamadou Sarr and Aaron Anselmino, two players that have gone on loan this season, and they're doing incredibly well. And apparently, according to The Athletic, Chelsea will be reluctant to block the pathways of Mamadou Sarr and Anselmino. It is more likely one of them will be recalled rather than a new addition to be added. So if Chelsea are in a position here between September and December going into the January transfer window, I don't think we're going to be seeing us sign a new centre-half, because Anselmino, even if we just take the first performance that we saw at Borussia Dortmund, Dortmund fans are raving about this guy. He looks like a 40, 50 million pound centre-half already. Now, obviously, I don't want to jump the gun, get too excited about this, but Chelsea Football Club bought Anselmino for a reason back in the day. Mamadou Sarr, we obviously know, did very well at Strasbourg, Chelsea, basically sister, cousin club, whatever you want to call it, under Blueco. So we know that Mamadou Sarr will eventually come back to Chelsea too. So for Axel Disasi, he might have wanted to go to Monaco, but now he's going to be training by himself. He's going to be with the bomb squad. He's going to be hanging out every day with Raheem Sterling. Maybe they can both end up at Monaco in January. But when it comes to the loans, I think there could be a way that we actually see one of Sarr or Anselmino recalled by Chelsea in Jan, if we do need cover in that position. Because look, Wesley Fofana's back training. Badiashile is now back training too. Tosin and Chalobah have made a great start to the season. Hato can also fill in that left centre-back position. But let's see what happens. I think Disasi might have an idea that he wants to get himself back in the squad. I don't see it happening. Once you're in that bomb squad with Chelsea, it does feel as though there's never a way that you'll be integrated back into things again. Look at Chilwell. Look at Sterling, Renato Vega. That was clear as day. Even Joao Felix, not even going to the Club World Cup. We're going to sell you as quickly as possible. So for Disasi, He might have wanted to move to Monaco. It didn't happen, but let's see what happens. So, the other day in the last video, we talked a little bit about Nicholas Jackson. And the latest from yesterday was this from Uli Hoeneß. We've decided against permanent signings after Diaz, as have to pay attention to financial situation. You have Barcelona as the best example of what happens when you only buy, and then end up with debts of 1.2 billion euro and can't do anything. First of all, I absolutely love it. Anyone that wants to have a sly little underground dig at Barcelona, be my guest. I love to see it. But it does look as though Bayern Munich here, everything's been laid out on the table. Nicholas Jackson, unless something crazy happens to Harry Kane, Nicholas Jackson will be coming back to Chelsea next summer. So hopefully he has a good season at Bayern Munich so that Chelsea's potential to sell him next summer is high, or maybe he's reintegrated back into the team. Now, the next thing here, and to wrap this story up, and hopefully we don't have to talk about this again unless Jackson scores against us for Bayern Munich, but this is once more from the agent of Nicholas Jackson. Many talk, but few tell the truth. That's not the topic today. Our only priority is Senegal's decisive match for World Cup qualification. This is a crucial moment for the entire nation. Our path, our ethics, and our way of working are known, first as footballers and today as advisors to African players. It's time for a sacred union. The rest will be dealt with later in due time. End of story. So obviously the focus for Jackson is on playing for Senegal. And as for the agent, I guess he's got to kind of pick up the pieces here for Jackson, because as much as I'm sure they would have known how likely it would have been that Jackson probably won't get signed permanently by Bayern, it's going to have to be now about trying to find another club. Let's move forward now into the next story. Lyon star Malik Fofana. There was interest from those two clubs, Chelsea and Liverpool, but ultimately nothing concrete. I've considered a transfer, but now I think it's more important that I play a lot. And that has to happen at Lyon because I still have some progress to make. Now, I also remember in the summer, I'm pretty sure Malik Fofana was wanted by Everton, I think it was, as well. In the end, they went for Jack Grealish and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, and that seems to be proving a very good decision for Everton moving forward. But Malik Fofana was a player that Chelsea were looking to buy in the summer, and Lyon wanted a lot of money for him. And there's also talk here when we move forward into Chelsea having funds available in January. So I want to keep the idea of Malik Fofana available, but I don't think that's the kind of player Chelsea need. We've just signed Garnacho. We've got Gittins, Neto, and Esteval Willian as well. So when it comes to looking at this story, there are still funds available for Chelsea in January to do something should they need to. Chelsea provided a clue in that regard by lodging a 40 million euro bid for Barcelona midfielder Fermin Lopez a few days before the deadline and opted not to pursue it. That sum was not spent elsewhere. So this is the Athletic already kind of hinting towards Chelsea having budget available in the January window. When we bring it back to all of the stories that we spoke about at the start, about Disasi wanting to go to Monaco but still being at Chelsea in that bomb squad, Chelsea probably not looking to sign a centre-back because we've got Anselmino, because we've got Mamadou Sarr. Likelihood would probably be that above buying one of the centre-backs, we would go and recall one of those two that we've sent out on loan. My voice is really going here. This is difficult. But Fermin Lopez at 40 million euro, did Chelsea ever really think we were going to be able to prize him away from Barcelona at that fee? I think it's a ridiculously low fee for a player that Barcelona were asking for, what, 65, 70 million pounds? Roughly the same as what Chelsea turned their nose up at to sign Xavi Simons, who has inevitably ended at Tottenham Hotspur. So, moving into the January transfer window, Chelsea might be willing to make a signing. I think it would not be a Malik Fofana kind of player. I don't think it would be another winger. I think it would be in the attacking areas. Whether Mark Guiu, we're going to find out if we can trust him. We're going to find out if Maresca trusts him, if he's going to play up front. Is he going to play Pedro Neto there, false nine, or Garnacho, or Cole Palmer instead of Mark Guiu? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying he's going to. And the latest that we've heard from Maresca during this international break is that he's very happy with the work that Mark Guiu's putting in. So let's wait and see. But as for the January window, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Chelsea go in the market if we can get those permanent sales for Sterling, Disasi, with that 40 million euros that we look to potentially spend on Fermin Lopez, add on the sale money if we get any in January. That could be Chelsea's budget if we do in fact need to make a signing. So let's take a little look now. We talked at the start about Lavia, Badiashile coming back from injury. One player that might be injured upon return is Dario Isugo. Portuguese Football Federation on Isugo. The Chelsea midfielder was excused from training due to a muscle problem in his right thigh, which he suffered after training on Monday. This is the one thing about the football season. Injuries always bring us down to earth. And again, at the start of this season, we're talking about Chelsea and injuries. And I'm not going to say this time I'm blaming anyone. I'm just going to say that it just does make it difficult, doesn't it? If we bring the tactics board up again, this midfield, when Lavia is back, brilliant. You've got Andre Santos in there as well if Enzo Fernandez still isn't up to scratch in fitness. But I think Isugo has been a great signing for us potentially. We haven't seen anything of him yet. But what we have seen is that if Caicedo is the player that needs a rest, Isugo might be the man to step in. But he is now injured. So let's see what happens. As we go forward now into the next couple of days, we're going to start looking at Brentford. This is a game that Chelsea haven't always necessarily had the most luck in. But I think after the international break, we've got to be looking to go into this with a win. Make it 10 points out of a possible 12 to start the season. So I'm going to wrap this video up now. Do apologise. I've been don't sound like myself today. I've got this horrible cold. I've had it for like 5 days now. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be back over the next couple of days. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Come on, you Blues.